Nkutlweleng Beauty. Her family is here with us today. Please, can the family stand? I take this moment to express our deepest condolences of your loss. In tribute to the memory of Nkutlweleng Beauty Liteta, and in recognition of a great achievement, I hereby introduce Nkutlweleng Beauty Liteta, who complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Nuclear Medicine Technology. Chancellor, I now request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Nuclear Medicine Technology on Nkutlweleng Beauty Liteta posthumous.
By virtue of the powers vested in me, I hereby confer the degree Bachelor of Nuclear Medicine Technology on Nkutlweleng Beauty Liteta posthumously.
You are now requested a moment of silence. May I request that everyone remain standing and observe a moment of silence in memory of Nkutlweleng Beauty Liteta. Thank you. You may be seated.
Chancellor, it is now my honor to introduce our honorary doctorate candidate to you. Her Excellency and former First Lady, Monica Geingos, was born in Namibia. She holds BJuris and LLB degrees from the University of Namibia and spent over 2 decades working in Namibia's financial and investment sectors. Her Excellency served as Namibia's First Lady from 2015 until her husband's passing in 2024. She is the founder of One Economy Foundation and the Be Free Movement project focused on youth, sexual health, and HIV/AIDS awareness. She is the chair of several boards, including the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, Women Lift Health, the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center. The former First Lady was listed among the top 100 prominent African women that was widely reported in 2020. The former First Lady is a Namibian lawyer, entrepreneur, a philanthropist, widely recognized for her leadership. As a qualified lawyer, she has gained experience as a private equity and governance expert, holding executive roles in various financial institutions. Notably, she served as Managing Director of Stimulus Private Equity, General Director of Point Break, and chaired the board of eBank Namibia. She began her career at the Namibia Stock Exchange after completing her legal studies at the University of Namibia. In 2015, she became the First Lady of Namibia following the inauguration of her husband, President H. Geingos, a role she held until his passing in 2024. During her tenure, she redefined the role of First Lady by integrating her expertise in economics and governance into a comprehensive advocacy program focused on social development. Through the establishment of One Economy Foundation and the Be Free movement, she launched a series of initiatives targeting the intersection of youth vulnerability, poverty, and public health. These initiatives offered a wide range of services, including life skills training, psychosocial support, and adolescent-friendly sexual and reproductive health education, all designed to empower Namibia's youth and address structural inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, the former First Lady used her platform to challenge stigma surrounding HIV, particularly in relation to children and adolescents living with the virus. She encouraged parents to speak openly with children about their HIV status, advocating for early disclosure and supportive care. Her work earned her international recognition and influence within the global health space. In 2016, she was appointed UNAIDS Special Advocate for Young Women and Adolescent Girls. Her leadership was further recognized in 2018 when she received the World Without AIDS Award from the German AIDS Foundation, alongside global figures such as Bob Geldof. From June 2022 to February 2024, she served as president of the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, OAFLAD, where she played a pivotal role in advancing health and gender equity on the continent. Under her leadership, OAFLAD mobilized support for HIV/AIDS prevention, treatment access, and stigma reduction. One of the key initiatives during her presidency was the We Are Equal campaign, which focused on gender equality and was launched across multiple African countries, ladies and gentlemen. Her work has not diminished with the conclusion of her tenure as First Lady. In 2024, she co-chaired the Global Council on Pandemics, AIDS, and Inequality, and currently serves as chair of the Africa Reach Leadership Council. She joined over 300 global leaders in June 2024 in advocating for equitable access to HIV medication, calling on pharmaceutical companies Gilead Sciences to make the long-acting antiretroviral drug available to low and middle-income countries. These actions, ladies and gentlemen, reflect her enduring commitment to justice, inclusion, and sustainable health solutions in Africa and beyond. Her advocacy aligns closely with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and she was named one of 4 global Sustainable Development Goals advocates by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. In addition to advocacy and philanthropic work, Her Excellency and former First Lady has served in numerous strategic governance roles. She chaired the Presidential Economic Advisory Council in Namibia and has held board positions in both public and private sector organizations. Internationally, she contributes to the boards of Women Lift Health and the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center for Women and Development, and is a member of the Concordia Leadership Council, a global non-profit focus on building cross-sector partnerships for social impact. She has also continued her involvement in education, serving as the Chancellor of Kepler College in Rwanda, and in April 2024 was awarded an honorary Doctor of Philosophy by the Jharkhand Rai University in India. Ladies and gentlemen, the former First Lady has consistently used her public platform to elevate the voices of the marginalized, and her advocacy has shaped both national and international policy responses to health, gender, and development challenges. Her work bridges legal, economic, and social disciplines, creating meaningful pathways for transformative change. This honorary doctorate, ladies and gentlemen, recognizes her continued efforts to uplift and inspire and to create sustainable interventions that will impact the global society positively. We can clap. Chancellor, thank you. Chancellor, I now request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa on Monica Geingos.
By virtue of the powers vested in me, I now confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa on Monica Geingos.
I was actually doing quite well until the award of the posthumous bachelor's degree, which threw me off significantly. And I extend my deepest condolences to the family of the bereaved. But I also want to congratulate all of you for your incredible achievements. I too feel incredibly honored. And I'm deeply aware of the weight of this moment. An honorary doctorate from this esteemed university is partly a recognition of work done, but I also believe it's a call to continued purpose and a challenge to remain worthy of the confidence that the University of Johannesburg has placed in me. It's made even heavier by the Chancellor of the University of Johannesburg, Her Excellency Monica, who used to be your former Deputy President, who's someone whose journey and values and leadership I deeply respect. And thank you as well, Vice-Chancellor and your entire faculty. There's also something deeply personal to this. As my husband's tenure as president was coming to an end, he had about a year left to his tenure. We spent a lot of time discussing what the day after his presidency would look like. And we had a plan. We had a list of places we wanted to visit, friends we wanted to invite to see us, and part of that plan was that I do my PhD. My husband felt I talked a lot and I should earn the right to talk as much as I do. He was the first Prime Minister of a newly independent Namibia, and his PhD was on state formation. And he was very determined that I do my own, and that he built me an office at the farm so that I could start in 2026 with him as my self-appointed supervisor. He had received 6 honorary doctorates and never once referred to himself as doctor, as he believed that honorary doctorates are meant to honor and titles are designed to reward. He asked that I never use an honorary title, not because I don't respect it, but because he wants me to earn my own. He used to call me machine gun mouth. So here we are in 2026, and he's not here. I've not started my PhD, but here I am standing in front of you being awarded an honorary doctorate for work that matters. So this honorary doctorate really means more to me than you can ever realize. It feels like confirmation that he was right when he told me to focus on what matters. And it feels like a nudge from my husband to fulfill my promise to him that I will work towards finalizing my own PhD and that I will not call myself doctor until I fulfill that promise. And while I gather the courage to fulfill that promise, I will enjoy the incredible honor to be bestowed an honorary doctorate. And I accept this honor on behalf of every young person who is part of Be Free movement. I accept it on behalf of the mothers and fathers who've lost children to preventable conditions. And I accept it on behalf of my late husband, Dr. Geingos, whose journey with cancer taught our family and our nation profound lessons about health, dignity, and the systems we build to protect one another. He had an incredible leadership journey, and for someone of his stature, titles didn't matter to him. Not as the first Prime Minister, not as an unemployed former Prime Minister, he lost his job at some point, and not as a president, because to him titles and power were transient. Because his journey included a political sabbatical, that's what we call it, he understood how people react to power, how they act around power, and how they act towards you when they believe you've lost power or when you've lost a title. And maybe it's a message to graduates. You can lose a title, but you can never, ever lose your qualification. So well done. And he was clear on this. I would only be a First Lady for as long as he's president, and I must focus on work that matters to me. And that's what I did. The title provided a platform, and platforms are like empty vessels. They matter only for what you choose to fill them with, and for whose voices you choose to amplify. I'm a lawyer by training, an entrepreneur by profession, and an advocate by conviction. I did not arrive at the office of the First Lady as a health professional. But I did arrive with proximity to power. And that proximity, I came to understand, is not a privilege, it's a responsibility. Because the only real power I had was that I didn't need to make an appointment to see the president. There was no other power. The question that guided me was simple. How do I take this proximity, this access, this visibility, this ability to convene, and convert it into something durable, something that would outlast any term of office, something that would reach the teenage girl who does not know where to seek help, the boy who's been taught that seeking mental health support is a sign of weakness? The answer became the One Economy Foundation. When we conceptualized the Be Free Youth Campus, we did not set out to build a charity project. We set out to build an institution, a world-class facility that would treat young people not as recipients of pity, but as bearers of rights, as agents of their own lives, and individuals deserving of excellence, as you are today. Today, that campus stands in Katutura, which is a peri-urban area. Here, you call it Dilokasi. We call it the same in Namibia. Some of you will be surprised. Ons praat vlot Afrikaans in Namibia. So, that campus stands in Katutura, our Lokasi. And it's a testament to what happens when public leadership meets private sector rigor, when advocacy meets evidence, and when good intention meets disciplined execution. Between 200 and 250 young people walk through those doors every single day. They come for psychological support, life skills training, entrepreneurial programs, sexual and reproductive health services. They come for STEM programs, they come for gym, they come for whatever they need, because young people don't live one-dimensional lives. We have a clinic that offers pregnancy tests, family planning, HIV testing, counseling. We've partnered with the OB-GYN practice to provide specialized obstetric and gynecological care, reaching women and girls who face financial, geographical, and social barriers. We address polycystic ovary syndrome. We provide prenatal and postpartum care. We provide psychological support. We provide services relating to GBV, STEM training, you name it, we do it. Why? Because young people have complex problems and they need holistic and integrated solutions. I'm often asked why we provide skills development, entrepreneurship training right next to reproductive health services. Where does it fit in? If it doesn't make sense, then our statistics don't make sense. We do what the statistics demand of us. In some regions of our continent, 49% of our girls between the ages of 16 and 19 fall pregnant. Often, before they turn 20, there's a second child. The likelihood that they become economically productive becomes slim, and they have a higher chance of experiencing gender-based violence, not finishing education, and raising their children in the same poverty that they grew up in. And as the cycle repeats itself, these children also become parents prematurely. And we're trying to break that generational cycle. It takes time, money, and focus. People often ask me why I don't run for president. The answer is in the work that I do. Someone who wants political office for the sake of it will not focus on work that is politically fraught, like SRHR, because it may cost you votes. And that's why I do it, because politics doesn't matter to me. People do. And that's why public health is critical. It's not about your religious, cultural, or political views. It's not about title, position, that it can afford. It's only about the statistics. It's about saving lives and ensuring that people are healthy. On the 14th of January, 2024, my husband still had a year to his term. He looked and felt healthy, but he was diagnosed with cancer. He passed away 2 weeks later from complications from his treatment. And I can't begin to explain to you the powerlessness we felt in those 2 weeks. And we didn't know we only had 2 weeks. On the 4th of February, 2024, I sat by his bedside in a hospital in Windhoek as he took his last breath. And it wasn't just Hage, my husband and the father, who passed. It was Dr. Hage Geingos, the third president of the Republic of Namibia, chief architect of our constitution and the pillar of our Namibian house. He died, and there was nothing any of us could do about it. The lesson is that if you have the resources, when you have the resources, and education is a resource, do whatever you can to save people's lives, because there's nothing more powerless than having a loved one who is sick, and there's nothing you can do. In his final weeks, he did something remarkable. He spoke openly about his diagnosis. He broke cultural norms, and in many African societies, illness, particularly cancer, is shrouded in silence, whispered about, treated as a source of shame and stigma. I say it as a joke, but it's kind of true. I don't know if you people know that African men don't die of natural causes. All of them are killed by their wives. Either they were bewitched, they were poisoned, it's always the wife. And it's the stigma, it's the shame that we attribute, it's the silence that we treat illnesses with. Hage refused that silence, and he protected me with his refusal, because even I didn't want him. We were told the 14th. He wanted to announce on the 15th. I said, Hage, please don't. I haven't gotten used to the diagnosis. He insisted. He said, fine, I'll give you 24 hours. The next day, I'm announcing. I'm grateful he did, because if he passed suddenly and nobody knew what was wrong, guess who was going to be blamed? So he refused my reluctance. Even in his final days, he encouraged people to prioritize their health, to go for screenings, and to speak openly. So let me do the same. I watched my husband receive treatment. I witnessed the dedication of his medical team. And I also witnessed the gaps in our health system, gaps that are not unique to Namibia, gaps that exist across our continent, and gaps that cost lives. And this is why public health matters, not as an abstraction, not as a policy paper on a minister's desk, but as the difference between life and death, power and powerlessness. As the difference between a mother watching her child grow up and a mother planning a funeral. As the difference between a nation that thrives and a nation that merely survives. And this is what I carry with me, and this is the work that we do at Be Free, and that's why I stand before you today as someone who believes with every fiber of her being that health is not a commodity, it's a right. And now I must address the controversy. I must speak directly to the tensions that surround reproductive health and rights, because they are the reason this work is necessary, and they are a reason this faculty matters. Across our continent and across the globe, we're witnessing a troubling phenomenon, misinformation about SRHR, which is spreading rapidly through digital spaces, through TikTok, through YouTube, messaging apps. I was boasting to my daughter the other day, I know about Snapchat, and she said, Mommy, nobody's on Snapchat. Nobody even talks about it. Platforms where young people seek information and community, because in the absence of us telling young people the truth, they find it on social media. This misinformation is not harmless. It shapes health outcomes. It tilts decision-making. It influences laws and policies, reinforces harmful stereotypes, stigmatizes people, and distorts understanding of contraception, fertility, and pregnancy. Even when my husband was sick, there were people I love who were telling me, why don't we try ivermectin? I don't have a problem with ivermectin, but I really want to trust specialists at the time when I think I'm losing my husband. We're seeing legislative efforts across multiple African countries that incorporate misinformation into official frameworks. We're seeing strategic litigation tactics that weaponize false narratives. We're seeing major internet platforms apply inconsistent content moderation that blocks accurate information in some regions while allowing harmful misinformation elsewhere. And again, this is not abstract. This is happening right now, and it's affecting the young people who walk into our clinic, and some of them who are confused by what they've read online, some frightened by narratives with no basis in science, and some making decisions based on information designed to deceive. What do we do in the face of this? We double down on evidence. We build partnerships with trusted providers. We create spaces where young people can ask questions without judgment. But most of all, we refuse to be silent. We refuse to let the controversy dictate the terms of the conversation. We speak openly because silence is the ally of stigma. We provide comprehensive services because denial is the enemy of well-being. And this brings me to why this faculty and why this moment matters so profoundly. We're living through an era of rejection of expertise, rejection of evidence, rejection of the very principles that underpin public health. We see it in vaccine hesitancy, in resistance to scientifically accurate sex education, in the elevation of personal anecdote over population-level data. Against this tide, institutions like the University of Johannesburg's Faculty of Health Sciences stand as bulwarks. Healthcare workers are now also expected to be custodians of truth. Many of you who graduated today are entering a profession that is under siege. You'll encounter patients and some colleagues who've been misled by influencers in social media. You'll encounter policymakers swayed by misinformation. You'll encounter communities where stigma runs deep and silence is the default. But you'll also encounter moments of profound impact. The young person who finally understands the body, the parent who learns how to support their child, the patient who receives dignity alongside treatment, the family that grieves less because early detection made the difference. You carry with you the legacy of this institution and the hopes of your communities, and you carry with you the responsibility to not just be competent clinicians, but courageous advocates as well. And the work I'm being rewarded for really relies on partnerships with government, private sector, non-profit organizations, and many individuals who believed that young people deserve excellence. Many of those people are sitting right in front of me. I've got a whole row of people. I've got my people from the Namibian High Commission to Pretoria. I've got family members who I love dearly. I've got my pastor here. I've got a designer, David Tlale, sitting here, and I suspect he was judging some of the fashion. But I can assure you, everybody looked amazing. I've got a prince from Ethiopia, thank you, Your Royal Highness. I've got real loved ones sitting in front of me, my family from Johannesburg and my family from Namibia who are here to support, and I really thank you for your presence. Many individuals who believe that young people deserve excellence, and I've got Tebe sitting here at the back as well, but he's actually my little secret agent. This is the model we need, people who believe in one another, not silos, not competition, but collaboration, and the recognition that a singular actor cannot solve the complex challenges of health equity. And this university understands that. By honoring leaders from diverse fields as you have, Vice-Chancellor, you are affirming that health is not isolated from the broader fabric of society. Health intersects with education, economics, law, and culture. Let me close with a reflection of time on the relationship between urgency and durability. When Hage was ill, time became both precious and cruel. Every moment mattered. Every decision carried weight and lots of uncertainty. And yet, in that midst of all that urgency, I thought a lot about what endures, about what remains after the moment passes, about the day after that he always spoke about. And the Be Free Youth Campus was my answer to that. Thanks to his guidance, his lessons, and his example, we built an institution that is built to last and built on the conviction that young people are not problems to be solved, but potential to be unleashed. So thank you very much. I think this honorary doctorate really is not mine alone. It belongs to every person who's believed and contributed to the work we've done as part of Be Free. It belongs to young people who remind us daily why this work matters. And it belongs to Hage, whose openness about his health journey continues to inspire others to seek care without shame. Thank you very much.
Sure! The graduates have spoken. Let's give them what they want. Graduates! Uncommon and more graduates. Sure! I'm that and take it. That and take it. That and take it. That and take it. That
For those who may not understand what this song means, it sings about Sanamarena, which is a very special blanket. It says, Father, buy me Sanamaren, the chief's blanket, the blanket of education, Sanamaren. We are now wearing that blanket. It says, I want it. I'm sure you want it. And you've got it. It says, I want to wear it because it's something that no one can ever take away from you. That's the beauty of education and qualifications that are earned. It says, I'm afraid of people's criticism that never end. Vele ke abantu niyazana. But if you are a story sakho, you are comfortable in your skin, you've got your education, and you know what you're doing. So congratulations to all of you. Let me start by expressing my deep condolences to the Letlhokwa family. We feel your pain. You must rest assured that Kutloleng will not be forgotten here. And in fact, her spirit is here with us today. We want you to know that whatever she has achieved, we are so proud of her. May she rest in peace. I also, as we close the ceremony today, I have the privilege as the Chancellor of enjoying these ceremonies where I see these young lives. Everyone is younger than me because I'm so old, so I can say that safely. You just see the beginning of a wonderful journey. Some of you may be mid-career, but nevertheless, it's a wonderful journey. But also exciting is that it's the beginning of another journey for most of you, possibly, because by graduating, you have demonstrated the capacity to understand, the capacity to conceptualize. It tells us that there is so much more you can do. Some of what will be important will be reflected on how you apply and use the skills that you have learned. But also, we will see it in what you intend to do, studying further, being innovative, etc. Hey, it's so nice to be young. Yes, youth is wasted on the young. I want to go back and be the same age as you. I also want to congratulate the parents, the families, the caregivers, the guardian, the friends who have supported you in trying and difficult times. I think they deserve an applause too. You have to remember that you are chosen. And to whom so much has been given, much more is expected. Never forget that. Never forget the fact that in South Africa, and generally in Africa, those who walk with degrees are only a handful in a continent that needs so many more to have these qualifications. A 2021 report by the Department of Higher Education and Training indicates that just 6% of the South African population holds a degree. The global average is above 10%. In our vast population, many of our young people don't even make it to high school. And in that limited supply, only a few make it to university. So you can just imagine how much we want every inch of you. These parents and everyone who has worked to support you really want to see you thriving and shining. Am I right, or am I right, parents? We also have to consider that there are many ways of learning. If you still want to learn, you can learn and work and study online. And in fact, one of the G20 legacy project is on expanding access to higher education because of this challenge that we see. Because we also wanted to make sure that the G20 is not something that was there and it evaporated, but let's leave something on the continent. So thanks to you, Jay, we worked together during the G20 to conceptualize this initiative, and I'm excited that we are now beginning to see universities in Africa and around the world reaching out to us because they want to be part of accessing, availing their institutions so that our students on the continent can access education there. So I hope I'll bump into some of you while implementing that project. We also have to consider that University of Johannesburg is young, but it has achieved a lot. And you are the evidence of that achievement, but you also will take us even far. We are just 20 years as a higher education institution, which was a measure of the universities that was created at the end of apartheid. And we look forward to celebrate these many, many amazing innovations that will come from you in the years to come, so that one day we will sit here just to celebrate you and who you have become. Now, I also want to just say something about our doctoral candidate or graduate. Thank you so much for accepting to receive this degree with us. We chose you, you chose us. It's a perfect combination. We appreciate the many things that you have done in Namibia and on the continent. Even before you were First Lady, you were also already concerned about the needs of the people of Namibia and the continent. And you used your time, you and your husband, to further advance the interests of the people who have very little that they can call their own. You help them to take the next steps forward. We are excited that you are continuing in that service, that your work is targeting young people, and that, as I have heard from colleagues in Namibia, you allow young people to speak through their own voices, and you don't judge. We listen, we don't judge. You practice that, and through your work, many young people in Namibia who would have been lost to society are finding somebody and somewhere they can go to and find relieved. You have always been an amazing sister in the women's movement. I have watched you, the support you gave us at the United Nations. Please continue doing that, and also for us here at UJ. We congratulate you and we celebrate you. With that being said, I just want to thank our wonderful educators. Look at them. Look at them. They make us so proud. Vice-Chancellor, I think we've got good company here. Please continue doing what you're doing, be an inspiration to these children, raise the bar for them so that they can continue to aspire to be the best ever version of themselves. Congratulations, and now, Nipatin. It's been wonderful to see you take this big step today. Thank you. We are now going to sing the national anthem. If we could all stand up for that. By the virtue of the powers vested in me, I now dissolve this congregation of the University of Johannesburg.
Ulindlela, pema mkopozi,